For the past 10 years, I have toured and ran around the world with a handful of incredibly talented musicians and artists, everywhere from super intimate shows with Lorde to massive productions in Insanity with Fall Out Boy, Green Day, Panic at the Disco, as well as to some of the largest EDM festivals in the world with Marshmello Music. I feel like I have really curated a photography kit that lends its way to live music photography and what needs to be done during live music photography and event photography. And I wanted to share that with you guys, or at least I think it's a decent kit. So without any further ado, let's dive into my go-to concert photography 2023 kit. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like the whole thing. It's really appreciated. First thing we're going to talk about is body. My go-to is a Sony A1. I absolutely love this thing. It is a workhorse of a camera. It is a tank. It has been with me for the past 4 years now, and I don't see myself replacing it anytime soon. As you guys might know, I am a little Sony head. I am part of the Sony Alpha Collective with Sony, so I kind of sponsored by them, but no, they are not sponsoring me to make this video. I wouldn't be with Sony if I couldn't recommend their products, especially for my work aspect of photography. The Sony A1 is a tank. It does incredible video up to 8K, everything you need in a video camera, slow motion, regular speed, color profiles, all of that stuff on the video aspect is amazing. But the real reason I got the Sony A1 is because of its photography, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. When you're doing live music photography, you really want to be precise on the moment. Decisive moment is a huge thing within live music photography, and I think this camera showcases that very, very well. It is able to shoot anywhere from like 10 to 24 frames per second, somewhere around there, and get that really decisive moment that you were looking for in live music photography. There's so many photos that I believe that I've taken over my lifetime as a photographer that just wouldn't be what they were if it wasn't for that split-second frame grab that I'm able to get when I just kind of spray and pray down the shutter. It is actually crazy to me how high you can crank the ISO on this camera without starting to see any negative effects, especially when you are shooting large format RAW. You have to be able to shoot fast in very, very low light settings. The low light, that's the name of the game, and music photography is low light. And there's no camera out there, in my opinion, that does it better than the Sony A1. Next thing I want to talk about this camera is the autofocus system is incredible. It has a tracking focus system that's like insane. It's like tracking a bird's eye, like it's next level. Like there's a bunch of different focus systems that you can choose from as well. So there's like single point, single frame focus, autofocus tracking, all that fancy mumbo jumbo is in this camera. Something that I think is looked past a little bit in this camera is that it does have a tilt out screen, which is huge. It doesn't have a flip out, which I wish that it did have, so I can kind of see what I am recording, but it does have a tilt, which is super helpful when you're trying to get like up in those like high angles or like down low as well. Like you can flip the screen out and you're able to see what's going on at different angles, and that's been really, really helpful. I actually do most of my photography nowadays, especially music photography, through the live viewfinder. And I know that's going to be kind of like a touchy subject because this does have an electronical viewfinder that is absolutely incredible. But something about being able to have the camera kind of out in front of me, kind of like also be able to see the frame of what I'm shooting as well as focus on the live viewfinder is really, really helpful. It kind of reminds me of using like a, I don't know, a viewfinder on a Leica M6 or something, where I'm looking through the viewfinder, but I can keep my other eye open and still see the frame. That's kind of how I feel when I'm using the back screen viewfinder on this camera. So back screen, very underrated. As a camera as a whole, it's just kind of a tank. It does everything. It has all the bells and whistles of a flagship camera that you would ever need. Dual card slot. The battery life is absolutely incredible on it in comparison to other Sony cameras that I've used. I'm really, really happy with this purchase. If you guys looking for, I know it's kind of spendy, but if you're looking for a workhorse of a camera, Sony A1, both photo, video, it's pretty gnarly. Next thing I wanted to talk about, just because we're on the talk of bodies, I wanted to talk about SD cards. You really need a fast SD card for live music photography. You're going to be taking a lot of photos really, really quickly. So along with a buffer that the Sony A1 has, meaning that it can save photos to the internal memory and then put them onto the SD card, it has a large buffer. I want to say around like I can get 50 raw photos on the buffer of this camera, and then they get transferred to the SD cards. But the SD cards that I use is, I have a Sony Tough CFast card, and these cards are really, 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 really fast. Like they kind of blow my mind. They're 800 megabyte read and 700 megabytes write, 160 gig. They're actually faster than some of the hard drives that I use. And then to go along with that, I also have these Atlas Pro SD cards. I know you guys have heard of SanDisk, but Atlas makes incredible cards that are really, really affordable. So if you guys are looking for an affordable SD card that can read, write 250 megabytes a second, look no further than the Atlas Pro OWC cards. They're really, really nice. So look into those if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about camera lenses. What lenses do I use while I'm doing live music photography? Name of the game with live music photography is fast and low light. So you want a lens that is also going to lend to that as well. So my kit is 3 zoom lenses, and that's going to be a little argumentative, I think, online, because people are like, why aren't you using primes? Those are faster than zoom lenses. Well, in my opinion, the Sony A1 or any flagship model camera that you guys are going to be working with for live music photography, you're going to be able to shoot really, really high ISOs with those cameras. They're made to shoot in high ISOs with little grain. The Sony A1 kind of takes the cake on that, being able to shoot at those higher ISOs without seeing the damage in your photos. And because of that, I am actually able to shoot with a little bit slower lens. And by slower, I don't mean like crazy slow, but I'm talking about like 2.8. So all these lenses that I have right here are actually 2.8 aperture lenses. First one I want to talk about is this 14mm Sigma Art Series lens 2.8. I can't recommend Sigma enough. These lenses are very, very affordable for what they are, and they get the job done. I use this lens especially for a lot of the EDM stuff that I do with Marshmello. A lot of DJs that I work with want a lot of that wide angle field of view, like really get the energy of the whole scene, or a super wide angle of a live event, like at a festival or at a stadium or something like that. You want to be able to get those wide shots. So this 14-24 is really versatile. I really do tend to shoot this thing at 14mm only. It has a great autofocus system. It's fast. It's pretty light for what it is. There's also not that bad of distortion. When I'm working with this raw in Lightroom and stuff, I'm able to really fix the distortion that comes with this lens. And at 24, I see little to no distortion. So 14-24 Sigma Art Series lens. If you guys are looking for affordable lenses, the Art Series at Sigma, they're amazing. They're incredible. Check them out. My next lens is going to be the 24-70 G Master 1. I have the G Master 1, then I have the G Master 2. I can't really bring myself to upgrade it just because I love this lens so much. The G Master 1 has been my bread and butter for so much of my concert photography. I would say almost 60% of my images that I create are with this lens, the 24-70. I think this is the most versatile camera lens you can ever own. The photos kind of speak for themselves. There's really no distortion. The colors that come out of this lens is incredible. They render like such good colors. It is a little bit heavier, but that's going to be with most of your flagship lenses like this one. Autofocus is crazy fast, and I use this both for photo and video. A very specific look, a very like digital look, but with that you are able to get a crisp, clean image to edit and make your own. So I love this lens. Can't recommend it more. Sony G Master 24-70. And the next lens that is in my kit all the time going to be the 70-200 G Master, again series 1. This thing is beat up and I love it. I actually, now that I'm looking at it, looks like during my accident it might have gotten a little dinged up more than I thought it did. 70-200. This lens I am using almost the entire time that I am out in the crowd. It really lends to being out in the crowd, shooting towards the stage, and getting those really unique frames, kind of like really tight shots that you weren't able to get with obviously a wide angle lens. I also really like going into the rafters and the up top parts of venues and shooting down at the artists and things like that. It really just switches up the way you think about live music photography when I have this on. So I'm really jumping back and forth between the 24-70 and 70-200 because those are kind of the most versatile, I feel like, focal lengths in live music photography. The 14-24 is great for when you really want that wide angle, but other than that, it's almost too wide a lot of the time. So I kind of go back to the 24-70, and then when I want tight and crisp photos, I go for the 70-200. This is one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used. It is actually insane. It is expensive and it is heavy, but most of these lenses nowadays are going to be kind of expensive and pretty heavy. So next up on the list, not so exciting part of this video, is my flash. This is mostly going to be used for when I'm backstage doing portraiture or before the show, or maybe when we're walking to and from stage. It's just a typical Sony flash. Sometimes I'll do some shutter drags with this to get some unique looks backstage, or try to, I don't know, like when you're on tour, you're shooting the same stuff every single day, and you want your photos to stand out. So using a flash to kind of get a little bit more unique and interesting with your photos is something that I try to do when I'm out on the road or just shooting an event or live event, whatever it may be. Most of the time this is only for backstage. I'm not really using the flash when I am photographing shows and things like that. It's usually just for like portraiture backstage and stuff like that. This is also a secret weapon that I think is very underrated. It is a blower. You guys don't know what this is. This is literally like, it looks like the thing you got when you were a kid where they like pulled boogers out of your nose. It's a blower, essentially blows air into your sensor, because when you're changing lenses all the time, running around venues, your sensors do tend to get pretty dirty. So I tried to have one of these on me the whole time and then just kind of blow into my lens, and yeah, pretty handy dandy little tool, pretty cheap too, so you can get that. I think that's it. That's kind of my main photography kit. I've been photographing live events and music for so long now, and I still absolutely love it, and I can't wait to get back doing it one day, hopefully. And yeah, this is the kit that I will continue using if I do get back to it, and I think it's a great kit. That I know it's very expensive, but again, like, you don't have to have these exact versions of these lenses or these camera bodies. More so having an arsenal of lenses and body combination that you feel confident in documenting any moment that brings itself forward while you are at the event. Whether again, it be a crazy wide angle or super tight crop or just something super versatile, you want to be able to have the tool for the job. There's a bunch of different versions of these lenses, different styles, different brands, things like that. But at the end of the day, photograph's a photograph, and whatever you use to create that is how you work. But this is what works for me, and I hope you guys learned a thing or two, and that maybe you find a piece of equipment from this video that you're like, damn, I need to give that a shot, because I've never actually tried that. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. Like, comment, subscribe down below. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.